Finally, the Glock 43, 9mm single stack pistol. This has been long anticipated. And I don't think I've ever seen a gun that has just stirred up so much interest and so much consternation, because it took a while for Glock to introduce this pistol. One of the things great, though, about Glock waiting is I think they did it right the first time. With the Gen 4, there were a lot of early hiccups. With the Model 42, which is the single stack 380, a lot of hiccups right up front. But they fixed those really quickly. The one thing about this 43, and from everything I've seen and everything that I've experienced, is that they did it right out of the box. It just, for me, this gun handled, shot, no problems whatsoever. Whatever I threw it, whatever I shot, it was just working. And so I think that, for one thing, Glock has really done it right, making sure that this pistol works. A lot of companies just are trying to get their new products out quick, and a lot of times it comes back to bite them. And I think that's one thing, and hopefully that'll prove itself with the Model 43. One of the most requested guns that I've seen in a long time. One of the things, too, is I'm very pleased with the design and the way this gun came through. I was really concerned that it was going to be a lot thicker and that it was going to be just beefier. But Glock, to me, really did this pistol right for a Glock. Now, first thing we're going to do, of course, is we're going to drop our magazine, make sure the gun isn't loaded, and of course it is. It does come with two 6-round magazines, one with a flat base plate, one with an extended base plate, but still 6 rounds. It's a very comfortable gun to shoot at the range. This is not one of the smallest pistols out on the market, even in 9mm. There are others that are smaller. We're going to do a little bit of some comparison, but main thing is we want to really talk about what makes this a good option, or maybe some negatives about having this pistol over some of the other ones. Obviously, if you've seen any of my Glock reviews, you pretty much know what I'm going to talk about with this gun. I mean, it's pretty much the same thing as all the other Glocks, just a lot thinner in the grip. Definitely a difference. I was really concerned that they were going to maybe have this a little thicker, making it more toward the 9mm slide size. But with this, it really makes it compact. It really makes it excellent for concealed carry. The serrations are the same, the slide lock's the same. So, you know, the button here, and I like the Gen 4 button here. It's a lot larger. This can be changed to make it ambidextrous right here. Of course, it has the standard hump. It does not have any interchangeable back straps, but it is made for concealed carry. It's made to be small as possible. The Glock sights are your standard with the frame here and then the dot at the front. A lot of guys like to change those out, and obviously it'll be real easy to do. One of the things about having a gun that is popular is that there are a lot of options out there, whether they're holsters, extra magazines, different accessories, extended slide stop. You know, there's just a ton of things that you can do, sights. So, you know, that's one of the great benefits of having something that everybody else has, is because the market really shines for those type pistols. One of the great things, though, because the Model 42 has been out for a little while, they've already started quite a few aftermarket parts, and one of those is the sights. The sights for your Model 42 will fit the Model 43. One of the things that I really like is that it has more of a beaver tail right here than your traditional Glock pistols. It does come out, and we're going to compare it here to this is actually a Model 27, but it is the smaller version. And you'll notice that the angle of the grip right here, they have extended it out somewhat. And I really like that. In fact, some of the replaceable grip back straps that go in some of the larger pistols or the Gen 4 pistols, they even have an option. And then there's an aftermarket option where it gives you a full beaver tail effect. This is very nice. It makes it really ride in the hand well, and it really it shows itself at the range. And one of the things, since I've got the 27 out here, I want to really look at the thickness and the huge difference. I mean, that is tremendous. The traditional Glock slide on the 9mm is 1.01 inches. On the Model 43, it's 0.87. So it is a considerable difference in width, and that's going to be excellent for concealed carry. You want something really thin. Now, as far as the length, it's pretty much the same, and as far as the height here, it's pretty much the same. In fact, silhouette-wise, these guns are identical. but the thinness of the gun really makes a huge difference. It's the same way that it feels, I mean, as far as in the hand. Now, you don't have your divots here, but because this is so much smaller, and because they have these raised areas right here, it just fits very nice. It's fairly ergonomic for a Glock. I mean, there are more ergonomic guns out on the market, but the Glock is a great gun to shoot. It is in the Gen 4 style, so it has the large enlarged magazine release, easy to get to, and of course this is interchangeable where you can move it over here to make this ambidextrous. It has the small little blocks here, very good texturing, and of course on the back strap and the front strap. And, you know, it feels pretty good in the hand. I will say, though, that it is a little slick. Now, if you want just a little more grip, of course, you can add one of the Talon grips, which I really like. It doesn't add a lot of thickness to the pistol, even though it does just a touch. But what it really does is gives you a really good rubberized feel to it. And that is one thing I would definitely add to a 43. Okay, taking the subcompact Model 27, and then we've got the 43, and let's compare it to the 42. This 43 is a little bit larger than your 42. In fact, the 42, as far as in width of the slide, is 0.782 compared to 8.7. So, you know, you have about 1/10 of an inch of difference between the two. As far as height, it's even a little bit higher than the Model 42. The slide length is just a little bit longer. One of the things too about the 42 though is that it does have that beaver tail extension right here. Pretty much they look identical. Now the 42 is made in the US. In fact, it had to be made in the US for it to be available because of import restrictions. The Model 43 is made in Austria, at least at this point. One of the things I really like though, again, is that Glock took the time to make this right. And a lot of people were anticipating it. There were a lot of rumors too that the Model 42 was introduced first because they knew it wouldn't be quite as big a seller as the 43. And, you know, it was more of a marketing ploy, which I disagree with that. I think that the Model 43, they knew that it would be a big seller. I mean, Glock's in the market not to trick the public, but they're in the market to sell pistols and sell handguns. And over the long period of time, if the 42 wasn't going to hold up in the market, they wouldn't have even produced it. And it is a little bit larger than a lot of your other 380s, but it's a lot more shootable at the range. And on my review of the 42, I really talked a lot about that. I think that's one of the things about the 43. It is a little bit larger than your Car PM9. It's a little bit larger as far as slide width or slide length than your Ruger LC9. So, but it is much smaller than a lot of other pistols. And that leads us to one of the most popular slimline 9mm on the market, and that's the Smith & Wesson Shield. And so the Smith & Wesson Shield seems to be, and from a lot of the comments I get, something that the Model 43 should be compared to. The Smith & Wesson Shield is actually just a touch shorter if you include this little beaver tail area. If you didn't, it would be exact. So it's really only this extension right here in difference of length. But one of the big differences is the length of the grip, and with the Shield it comes down just a little bit longer. Now, one of the huge advantages to me, and I say huge, in a self-defense situation this could be critical. The Smith & Wesson Shield holds 7 in 1, while the Glock Model 43 holds 6 in 1. So you're getting one round, but you're getting a longer grip. And that's just something to consider for concealed carry. One of the things, though, that to me has been big for me as far as carrying a single stack 9mm is round capacity. You know, I'm used to carrying, in fact, I've been carrying it for years, the Model 26 and Model 27. 27 is 40, 26 is 9mm. It does hold 10 rounds, 10 plus 1, in the Model 26, which caliber-wise would be more comparable to the 43. But the real advantage of the 26 or the 27 is you can get the full-size extended magazines. I really like the 10-round capability of the Model 26, which, you know, is just 4 more rounds. But then you can carry a spare 17-round magazine in your back pocket. Or if you're really a little nuts, you can carry the 33-round magazine in your back pocket. If you have a 9mm Model 17 magazine, that's 17 rounds of backup. I can throw one of these magazines in my back pocket, whereas if I threw an extra magazine of the Model 43, it would be a 6-round magazine. So there's a huge capacity difference. But again, this pistol is a lot thicker. It's going to be more difficult to conceal as far as thickness. And really, I think not as much to conceal, but as in weight of the pistol. One of the big things about these guns, and especially with the Glock versus Glock, the weight on the Glock Model 43 is 17.8 ounces, just under 18 ounces. The Model 26 or 27 is 22 ounces. I mean, that is a considerable difference. The shield weighs 20.2 ounces. So you have a 2-ounce difference between the 43 and the shield. But again, you do have the one more round capacity. To give you more of a visual difference with the round count, of course, here we have the shield and we have 7-in-1. We have the Model 43 with 6-in-1. We have the Model 26 or 27 here, but representing the 26, we have 10-in-1. And then with the Model 43, we have 6-in-1, but of course 380 ACP. One of the big things though about the Glock is because it is a 6-round magazine and being shorter, I'm sure that there are grip adaptations that are going to happen to extend that to at least 1 or 2 extra rounds. I know Pierce does a lot of those grip adapters that'll give you an extra round in your magazine. And so I think if you're really considering the two between the shield and the Glock, and you really want it for just the round capacity, I think that with the Glock 43, you're going to get that as soon as they develop it, and they will. So I don't think that that's as much a consideration. I think if the ergonomics or if just you like the style of the Smith over the 43, that should dictate more than just your round count. Because overall, you're going to get an extra round. And of course, though, the one thing about that is the Smith & Wesson M&P, I'm sure will have an extension too, maybe even to go to 8 to 9 rounds. So, you know, there's a lot of things here to consider. I think for me, one of the big advantages of the Glock 43 is my investment in Glock. And when I say that, years I've spent at the range shooting Glocks, picking up that sight picture, knowing how everything functions. The recoil pulse is very similar. I was really surprised at how well the 43 shot compared to the Model 26. It seems like because of the thinner grip, I'm able to get my hand a little bit closer and tighter with a little more control. And that gives me just really an ease with recoil over some other pistols. With the Model 26 or 27, with the thickness, even though I've been shooting these for years and I love this pistol, it is a little thicker, and I don't quite have the full confidence I do that I would with a little bit of a thinner grip. Now, for guys with larger hands, that might make a huge difference. For me, I have medium-sized hands, so this really makes it a nice option. I think for female shooters, I think this would be an excellent option, period, even over the 26. Of course, the shield, and this is my wife's shield. She loves it and has always been wanting one. I got it for Christmas, actually, last year. One of the big things, though, about choosing a firearm for a female, or if you are a female and you're looking for a firearm, is put it in your hand, see what you're most comfortable with. And that is really going to give you a lot more confidence with your pistol, and it's going to make you want to go out to the range more to shoot. But the real question is you really like the 43, you know the differences. Is it reliable? Is it going to function? How accurate is it? How's the trigger pull? The trigger pull on the pistol is a little bit heavier to me than your standard Glock pistol. Typically, Glock pistols are about a 5.5 pound trigger pull. With the Model 43, I was consistently getting a 7 pound trigger pull. But one of the things is it's very crisp, and that is huge. You know, especially with a concealed carry gun, having a consistent crisp trigger pull to me is really important. Of course, I like to install an aftermarket connector that'll reduce the trigger pull, make it a little smoother. And of course, there are a number of ways to smooth down your trigger system and make it a little bit lighter even. But I think really out of the box, this has a really crisp trigger system. So I think that that's going to allow for good accuracy. With the way this shoots and handles, especially if you're used to shooting the Glock already, I think you're going to find that it's really easy to adapt to the Model 43. 6-shot group 10 yards away, and then here another 6-shot group. I knew I pulled those two, but this is just one solid hole. And here it's just shooting a touch down here to the left, but you know, that can be adjusted pretty easily. This is using HPR 115 full metal jacket, and these are easy to see targets. Great target system. Now, disassembly on the pistol, of course, the gun is unloaded. We're going to go ahead and pull the trigger and then pull the slide back just 1/8 of an inch and then pull down on these tabs, and this will release your slide. It does have the double recoil spring, and there is a sleeve in here to contain the inner coil. Barrel, standard Glock barrel. Of course, the slide is much smaller than your standard 9mm Glock. Frame here, this thing is just tiny. You know, they used to call the 26 the baby. I don't know if they're going to call this maybe the embryo. I don't know, but it's really a lot of fun to shoot. And the gun is now fully field stripped. To replace your barrel, to get this thing started just in reverse order the way you took it down, add your recoil spring and guide rod, slide it right over the rails, and you're done. Now, as far as price, that is definitely a consideration because there are some differences. With the Model 43, it should be coming in at about $450, and that's an average price. With the 42, the price is running about $400. In fact, I paid $399 for this one. With the Glock Model 26, in the Gen 3, they're running about the $500 range. Gen 4, about the $540 range. But one of the big surprises, and for those of you who already know, the Smith & Wesson Shield is running about $360, $370. And of course, all of these prices that I've quoted, you know, it's give or take. I do a lot of checking for price on Bud's Gun Shop because they typically have really good prices on their website. And so that just gives you kind of a general idea. According to where you live, prices could be different. I know sometimes on the Shield, I've seen some specials on those where they really run reasonable. Fed flawlessly at the range. The accuracy is good as long as I did my part. There's not any trouble with recoil. It doesn't hurt your hand in any way. I really like to undercut my trigger guard right here, but it felt really good on my finger. Never had any discomfort. I want to thank my good friend Skinny Medic. And you need to check out his channel. A good friend of mine, and we do a lot of stuff together, and he let me borrow this gun for this review, and I really appreciate him doing that. So check him out, let him know that Suit sent you. So the Glock Model 43, thumbs way up. Be strong, be of good courage. God bless America. Long live the Republic. Somebody had a bad day. That's the great thing about Western targets. AR-500 armor, I've shot thousands of rounds, and guess what? It don't take long, it's good as new.